Well, God morning, Ahiah. Welcome to live streaming and live service at the Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living in beautiful downtown Pasadena, California, USA. We are right here in the heart of the theater district, and our hearts are resonating with love as we have not only live streaming audience, but a live audience right here in the very room in which we sit, indeed. So we welcome you all to the first service of February the 6th, 2022. It's a time that has never come before, and we welcome you for helping to bring it in. I am Reverend Michael Bernard Lattimore, your assistant minister, guide on the side, honored to facilitate the service this morning and introduce to you all of the folks that make it happen. Also want to acknowledge that today is day 8 of the 25th annual Season for Nonviolence. And I've got some information for you in just a moment, a theme, a quote, and a practice that you can implement to honor the lives of the two great peacemakers that we know as Mohandas Gandhi, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but, a few more, including the one that occupies the seat in which you sit. Yes, and the most important one. That's right. So I'll share a little bit more with you on that in a moment, but first want to acknowledge the Sunday band. We've got Chris Glick tickling the keyboards. Got a sense of his consciousness during the meditation. Thank you, Chris. Brian Menifee on percussions. Leon Johnson is on the bass, and he is in the house as well. Let's give them love. Yes, and our musical inspiration today, the incomparable, the one and only, beloved Tina Meeks is in the house. Let's give Tina some love. Yes, yes, yes. So we know that the service is about love today. And also, you can hear my voice because of the magic of modern technology and the fact that we have the magnificent Gloria in the sound booth working the sound. Thank you, Gloria. That's right. Harris is our technical director. He's back there switching cameras, and we appreciate him. And also for those who work tirelessly behind the scenes, our beloved practitioners holding us in an atmosphere of prayer. For Brother Troy, hooking the breakfast up in the morning. That's just a little secret. If you come on Sundays, there's a little breakfast snack back there in the fellowship hall. So yes, we are just in love this morning. And our practitioner of the day is none other than Chris Glick. Yes, Chris Glick. Yes, indeed, Chris. And Chris has a most auspicious jacket on, and he was telling me that Mikhail let us know that this is the Chinese Lunar New Year, and that yesterday was a most auspicious occasion. And so we're vibrating in the energy of that as well. Yeah, Year of the Tiger. Wow, I like that. I like that, indeed. So let's resonate a little bit with this Season for Nonviolence principle of the day. And you will be pleasantly surprised, as I was. I was about to say surpleased. That's a contraction of surprise and please. But the theme for today, February 8th, and February 6th, and the 8th day is healing. Healing. Wow. Who knew? The quotation by Mother Maya Angelou. She says, I could be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. And the affirmation, within every experience, there exists a gem, a lesson, a kernel of truth, a new perspective, an unforeseen alliance. Today I am willing to be healed by even the most unlikely circumstances. I love that. And the practice for all of us is to reflect on an incident in your life to find the gift that it has brought you. Write down 2 ways that you can use this memory to become more creative and peaceful in this world. Consciously share this gift with others. Yes. What an invitation. And I will be doing that in the Power Talk today. Our theme for this month is still unconditional love as is. Yes. And today's wisdom talk, delivered by our senior minister, Reverend Scott Olson, is loving what is. Loving what is. I love that. And so with that, why don't we get God's party started? We've got a beautiful video meditation put together so lovingly by Gabriel. Let's tune in and align ourselves with this beautiful visual meditation.
Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When the shadows of this life have gone, I'll fly away. Like a bird from these prison walls have flown, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a land where joy shall never end. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning when I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Oh, thank you, Gabriel, for the video. And welcome, everyone. My name is Reverend Scott Olson. I'm the senior minister here, and it's truly, truly my pleasure to be here with you today. I want to go ahead and start us off with asking Chris to come up. He's going to do our reading and invocation.
Thank you, Reverend Scott. Good morning, Ahiah. I'm so grateful to be here today with you. You're my destination today, and I know that you are online. Maybe some of you are driving. Whatever you're doing, I would like to read something from Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teaching, wrote, as we know, multitudes of words. And today, in this day, amidst the Lunar New Year, another measurement of time, going back to days when we were there, we didn't know it. We rose in our lives to be here today. And I would like to read from Ernest Holmes' book, How to Change Your Life. And the piece I want to read was jumped out at me today and told me to get this book out of my bookshelf. And I opened to this, and I'd like to read this to you. An atmosphere of emotional health. We know now there is such a close relationship between the body and the emotions that we seek to build bodily health through emotional healing. Time ought to be given daily to such building. It is especially wise to keep faithfully in mind such expressions as these. I am filled with the life and love of God. I feel strong and vibrant. God life surges through my entire body. I function normally, wholesomely, and effectively. The power and perfection of God flow through me constantly and keep me in superb health. I rejoice in emotional wholeness. When such statements are contemplated with real happiness, they carry a thrill of joy to every part of the body. They create and maintain an atmosphere of health, which becomes a part of new cells that are created. The good feeling which attends such statements becomes an attitude in the body, and if persisted in, becomes a habit, carrying with it the power to continually reproduce itself. This is very important because we all sometimes find ourselves below par physically and need something to bring us back to normality. One of the best things you can do is to practice using such assertions, and also to practice having a healthy body, expanded chest, erect posture, and free and easy carriage, all of which indicate good physical condition. Merely repeating one of those statements will at once tend to produce the associated physical condition. These Automatic reflexes are wholesome. They cost you nothing in cash. They occupy only a minimum amount of time. They're pleasant to do, and they bring excellent results. I'm going to read those again. And so you know, this is on page 93 of How to Change Your Life. These are expressions that Ernest Holmes says it is especially wise to keep faithfully in mind. I am filled with the life and love of God. I feel strong and vibrant. God life surges through my entire body. Actually, let's all say it together. So, first I'll say it. I am filled with the life and love of God. I am filled with the life and love of God. I feel strong and vibrant. I feel strong and vibrant. God life surges through my entire body. Life surges through my entire body. I function normally, wholesomely, and effectively. Normally, wholesomely, and effectively. The power and protection and perfection of God flow through me constantly and keep me in superb health. Amen. Okay. Woo. So in this light, we are all smiling and vibrantly expressing our lives. And that's really all we have to do. And I'm going to do a prayer now to bring us all in that place where we're already there, but let's just talk about it. So, God is, I am. In all, there is nothing but this presence, this knowing. I know this for myself. I claim this for each under my breath, knowing that it goes further and further because each person who hears me is heard by eventually everybody. It just goes out there. So I give thanks for this, knowing that this word is going out to be connecting you with me and with God. And I just give thanks again for this knowing that all that is all there is. And in this perfection of knowing that we are part of this, which makes us smile, laugh, receive, give joyously, I just know this is heard by God, heard by everything, everybody. And I, again, give thanks for this. And together, we just say, and so it is. So it is. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Oh,
Namaste.
thank you, Chris. Thank you. And so now I'd like to ask Tina to come up. She's going to do a song for us. Chris is going to go over and play the piano, too. He's got like triple time duty today.
Hi, everybody. It's always good to be here. Always good to see these familiar faces. It brings joy to be standing here and just feeling that vibration back and forth. I love you all. I love you all. And love you all out there, wherever you are at home. God bless you. We miss you. Take care. So we're going to sing about love. Some say love, it is a river that drowns the tender reed. Some say love, it is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger and endless aching need. I say love, it is a flower, and you, its only seed. It's the heart afraid of breaking that never learns to dance, and it's the dream afraid of waking that never takes a chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live. When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long, and you think that life is only for lucky and the strong, just remember, in the winter, far beneath the bitter snows, lies that seed that with the sun's love in the spring becomes a rose. Well, just remember, in the winter, far beneath the bitter snows, lies that tiny seed that with the sun's love in the spring it becomes a rose.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, the band. That sets the tone so well for today's talk. It's because it is all about love, right? And love is so transformational in our lives. And that's why in February, we like to talk about love, right? And our theme, as Reverend Mike has said, is unconditional love as is. And we talk, that tagline, as is important, but we talk about unconditional love all the time, mostly from the standpoint of Spirit as unconditional love. And we talk about it, Spirit as unconditional love is grace, this idea that we don't have to change one little tiny little bit in order for Spirit to know itself as us, as perfect, whole, complete. And so we give such grateful thanks for that knowingness, knowing that we are seen always as perfect, whole, and complete by Spirit. But then, I was talking to Gabriel one day, and we had kind of an epiphany together. And, the definition of an epiphany is here. It's a moment of sudden revelation or insight. And I love the picture that Harris has picked for us, right? And that moment where you just kind of go, oh yeah. And we have this idea. We were talking about this idea that in a thrift store there is a tag oftentimes that we put on things. And that tag, they'll put it on an item to tell you that it's being sold as is, right? You don't know whether it's going to work or it's not going to work, whether it has blemishes or no blemishes. Nobody knows, really. And so, we have a thing that Gabriel has created here, a heart here in the sanctuary, and maybe Harris has it on the screen now too. But it's a heart that has a safety pin, and on that there's a tag, and what I'd like you to consider is there's an as is on that tag. I had asked Gabriel to leave it blank because through this month we're going to talk about some other things we might put on that tag. But if it was an as is, then what we would be saying is, I give you my heart. But I give it to you as is. And when we do that, what we know is that you're not judging me. And humans have a hard time not judging. We judge others, we judge ourselves. We're going to talk a little more about that during the talk part. But this idea of being able to take things as is, it's a real idea that helps us to get past those judgments. So I'm going to ask Reverend Mike to come on up, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what he knows about, unconditional love as is.
Thank you, Rev. And thank you, family. Yes, it's no coincidence that the theme today for the season for nonviolence is healing. Because in my experience, unconditional love is healing. To be loved unconditionally, even when one is perhaps unlovable, to me is the ultimate act. And February, I always think of my mom's transition. She made her transition this month 8 years ago. It seems like yesterday. But what's so beautiful about her memory is that she loved me unconditionally. She loved me when I was unlovable, when I couldn't love myself. That to me is the essence. I remember my mom used to say to me, boy, you don't believe that fat meat is greasy. And I have to admit, I was a bit of a skeptic. When she said, boy, that stove is hot, I had to know, how hot is it? So I was a handful, absolutely, but unconditional love pulled me through. And it was only because I was to come face to face with this principle of, it's actually a word, one of the shortest words in the English language, and that word is okay. Okay. It symbolizes acceptance, that it is what it is. That's all it is. You see, this philosophy has taught me that if I have to wait for something external to be changed, for me to be okay, I got a long wait coming. This philosophy has taught me that I can find inner peace by accepting that it is what it is. And just like our challenge that we got today from the Season for Nonviolence reminded us, looking for the gift in it. What is the gift? What is the medicine that I can extract from the poison, the seeming poison of that experience? So I think that word okay, that acceptance, that loving what is an antidote to the thought virus that I was talking about last week. You know how people walking around with the thought virus? I'm upset because of this doggone virus. I'm upset because of the shot. I don't want to get the vaccine for the virus. They couldn't have possibly made that vaccine that quick. It took them 50 years to make the polio vaccine. So there's a lot of stuff going on in people's minds, you know. And I get to say, okay. You know, everybody contends against truth and finds truth that way by contending against it. And I have to allow people the dignity of their process. And then I get peace by just loving what is. Because, you know, there's a lot of beliefs out there. It's got folks believe that the world is flat. Okay. Whatever the reason. So it's February 2022. In February, we get to explore Black History Month. The truth is that every month is Black History Month because Black history is American history. And we're looking at our ancestors, our American ancestors. So I decided every Sunday I'm going to do a profile of somebody that you may not have heard of because I certainly had not heard of this individual. So the ancestor I'm calling forward today is a man by the name of Hiram Revels. Ever heard of Hiram? Me either. Never heard of Hiram. He was the first Black senator after the Civil War. And unlike most of the Democrats and the people who were against him, he was for the restoration of citizenship to the Confederacy. Did you know that the Confederates were declared to be non-citizens? That their citizenship had been stripped from them? Did you know that? I didn't either. Yeah, so that's why 100 years later, the Confederacy has still got a resentment. They're still around because they were stripped of their, not only their riches, their resources, you know, American slaves, but they were also stripped of their citizenship. And Hiram and I have a little something in common because he integrated the Senate. He was the first Black senator. When I was 12, I integrated a Catholic elementary school. Yeah. You never knew that about me, did you? I never talked about it. It was one of the central, most painful experiences of my life. And yet, there's a gift in it. The reason that I am a peacemaker today, the reason that I go into prison and do the things that I do is because I understand the suffering of human consciousness, having been in the midst of it. And, you know, Jesus was 12 years old when he went to start teaching the rabbis because he knew something about truth. When we contend against truth, we know something about it from our own life. And what I didn't know then that I know now is that this idea about racism and race, I mean, they're completely made up concepts, right? You know, and I didn't know that then as a 12-year-old. I didn't know that the U.S. government had created institutional racism where they had redlining, and that when somebody of color moved into a white neighborhood, yeah, their property values would go down because of the government's policy, because of consciousness, an idea that has outlived its time. So Hiram lasted for about a year. He finally decided to go back into education. He became the president of the Alcorn Agricultural and Mechanical College down in Claiborne County, Mississippi. And he was very well educated. He taught philosophy, and he decided that he wanted to participate in the enrichment of African Americans and the consciousness in our community. And so that was his lifelong contribution. He also went into the ministry. He was one of the first ministers in the African Methodist Episcopalian movement, and he made his mark as the first U.S. black senator. And today we have a few more. We actually have some women. We actually have a woman vice president, a black woman vice president. There's some talk that we might get a Supreme Court justice. You know, who knows? Consciousness is slow to change. I mean, there's some people that I'm upset because of that, right? But it's like, God bless them. Change is inevitable. It's happening now. And we get to just love it for what it is, as it is. And we get to discard those old beliefs, to discover what we can do, right? And to discover that we can change those old ideas. Remember they used to say you can't fight City Hall? Remember that? We are City Hall. Yeah, yeah. And we don't have to fight, because freedom is a blessing. It is a gift. It is ours by divine inheritance. And all we have to do is stand up inside of ourselves and say, okay, I heard the bell. Here I am, God, use me. Namaste, family.
Oh, thank you, Rev. So yeah, lots of wisdom there. Lots of wisdom. We've heard a lot of good stuff already, you know, about healing and about revealing the truth inside and our connection. And so today's talk is loving what is. And, you know, you could use that talk title for a lot of different things around love. But today in particular, you know, I want to talk about love. You know, we've got Valentine's Day coming up in another week or so. I think it's a week from Monday, right? And, you know, we always want to focus on love and Valentine's Day. But today, I want to focus on self-love. I want to talk about how do we love ourselves. And, you know, we really need to concentrate on this. This is something that is really pertinent to our everyday lives, because the truth is that we're domesticated, really. You know, that's what Don Luis Miguel says in his book, The Four Agreements. He says that, you know, just like the, you know, sheep and the cattle that we've domesticated and our pets that live in our home are domesticated, we have become domesticated ourselves. Now, the difference is it's basically the same process, but there's a basic difference. You know, with a dog, we teach them to be potty trained in our house, right? And how do we do that? Well, we're really happy with them when they go outside. We're not so happy with them when they do it inside. And our parents use a similar technique on us, but the difference is that for us, we do what he calls auto-domestication, which is that we become the trigger for our own domestication. Rather than our parents standing there wagging their finger at us all the time, we have an inner dialogue that wags its finger at us all the time. And so we have these judgments that are constantly, they're kind of chewing at us a little bit. They really are. They keep us from being the person that we would be otherwise. Now, there's a lady named Louise Hay. And, those of you who have been around for a while in this philosophy know who Louise Hay is, because back in the 80s, she was very, very big in the 80s. And I'll talk about her in just a second. But I wanted to give you a reminder of something that she used to say. She said, "Remember, you have been criticizing yourself for years and it hasn't worked. Try approving of yourself and see what happens." Try approving of yourself and see what happens. Well, you know, I wasn't around in this philosophy in the 80s when she was big. I had definitely heard her name. I even saw her speak once in the early 2000s. And Louise Hay, she was phenomenal, really. You know, she David Alt, who was one of her singers. You know, if you ever saw Louise Hay's show, it was called The Hayride, by the way, and they went all over the nation. And in The Hayride, she had a trio of singers that David Alt was part of called The Alliance. And they would sing these, you know, metaphysical types of songs, uplifting songs like Tina sang today, right? And it was beautiful. And David Alt, you know, became a science of mind, a religious science minister. He was senior minister out in Atlanta for quite a while. And he's moved on to some other things, but I got to see him at the Big Sky Retreat in Montana last year. And it was beautiful. It was wonderful. He did a couple of segments, and one of them was on Louise Hay and her teachings. And there was a video that, you know, maybe Rev will talk about that and do a community movie night on that video, because it's very uplifting what she did. She went out, you know, she started basically by serving the AIDS community back in the 80s. Thousands and thousands and thousands of gay men were dying in Los Angeles. I remember that time. And the friends. And the friends that I lost. But Louise, I didn't know about her. I wish I had. It took another 20 years for me to find this philosophy and put it into work in my life. But she would basically tell gay men that they shouldn't judge themselves. Right? That self-love was what they really, really needed. And, you know, it's important even today to continue with that message of self-love. And in the gay community, it's still an issue even today. We know that that's true because in today's world, right now, not 40 years ago, but now, in the gay community, they estimate that the alcohol and addiction rate for gay men is 20 to 30% versus 9% for the general population. And, you know, in that 12-step community, they have a saying, because they absolutely know that judgment is what is the fuel for the fire of addiction. And they have a saying that goes like this: everything I have ever let go of has left claw marks. Because, you know, getting rid of those judgments, it can be so difficult. These self-judgments, they've been ingrained into us since we were tiny. You know, and to take those out, sometimes it's hard. And so what we want to do is we want to allow the truth that I spoke about earlier to be true in our lives. We do that by getting rid of these self-judgments, and we can do that by knowing that Spirit, you know, we live in the grace that God is, always. And in that grace, we know that we are whole, perfect, and complete There is no place for self-judgments in whole, perfect, and complete. In fact, Spirit doesn't judge at all. So why would we? Why would we judge ourselves if Spirit does not? Socrates, he was born in 469 BCE. So, thousands of years ago is when he lived in Greece. And he used to say, an unexamined life is not worth living. And in fact, he thought that was so important, he had it etched above the lintel into the area that he taught from in Athens. And it's absolutely true that way of being is the way to do it, to live our lives. It's the way we have awareness. My favorite capital A word, awareness, where we look at our lives to see, what do we believe? What do I really believe about myself? Do I love myself or not? As Reverend Mike has said, February is a month for Black History Month. And so I want to introduce you, if you don't know her, to Lorraine Hansberry. She is the author of the play A Raisin in the Sun. She's a playwright. She's an activist. And she was born back in 1930. So it's been a while. It's been 90 years, more than 90 years since she was born. And so back in that time, segregation was still very, very true in this land. And, when she was 8 years old in 1938, her parents, her father was a real estate broker, her mother was a school teacher, and so she lived in a middle-class life. And her father had the audacity to buy a house, like Reverend Mike was talking about, in a white neighborhood. How dare he? And he was met, and his whole family was met with violence. And then, not only violence, they took him to court. And there was a judgment. There was a court order that said they could not live in that house. Now, the great thing about her parents is they took that to court. They appealed that decision. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And in the decision, Hansberry versus Lee, the Supreme Court said that was illegal. That these restricted covenants that they were pursuing under this agreement they had, supposedly, in the neighborhood, not to sell outside of the white race, was illegal. Thank God. I just want to know, sitting here in 2022, I want to go, how did anybody ever think it was legal? How would you ever think in the land of the free and the brave that would be legal? She went on, she grew up, she went to college, she moved to New York. She became a playwright, and in fact, she became the youngest Black woman to get a play on Broadway. The first Black woman, but one of the youngest poets ever to do that. And in fact, playwrights to do that. She got a New York Critics Circle Award. She was the only Black woman, the only Black person at that time, and the youngest person to have ever gotten it. She was in her late 20s when she did that. Amazing. I didn't have any idea what I was doing in my late 20s. And here she was writing A Raisin in the Sun. I read that book, that play. It was a requirement in an English class when I was in high school. I have to say I didn't get it. And I need to go back and I need to read it again fully. I read passages out of it in preparation for today, and it's a beautiful play. And the title of the play comes from a Langston Hughes poem. He says, "What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun?" And that's what this play is about. It's about this idea that, this woman whose husband dies and leaves her $10,000, which back in that day was a lot of money, leaves her $10,000, and the family is now trying to decide how to spend that money. And she wants to buy a house in a white neighborhood, just like the author did, family did. And the oldest son wants to buy a liquor store, for economic purposes. And the story, there's all these characters in there about their dreams. What are their dreams? And are they going to have to defer their dreams? Now, one other thing about Hansberry is she died at the young age of 35 years old. 35. She died of pancreatic cancer. And I want to link these two people I've talked about, Louise Hay and Lorraine Hansberry, because Louise Hay, one of the things that she did besides, doing that was she was all about healing. She was all about healing your body yourself. Didn't matter if you were straight, gay, it didn't matter, right? She was about healing. In fact, she had healed herself of cervical cancer. And she did that, she says, by confronting the sexual abuse that she had had as a child. She linked those two things in her mind, and by overcoming that, by forgiving that, which, by the way, does not forgive the perpetrator. Right? Forgiveness is not a process about anybody else but ourselves. And so by forgiving that action within her, she cured herself. Now, in Louise Hay's vocabulary, I don't know Lorraine Hansberry. She died long before, I would have ever had a chance to meet her, so I don't know that much. But one thing that I do know is that Lorraine later on, much after she passed away, her diaries were published. And in her diaries, it became very, very clear that she was a lesbian and that she had never come out in the world as a lesbian. And what Louise Hay says about pancreatic cancer is it indicates an inability to absorb sugar or sweetness. This may point to an inability to open up and receive love, or an inability to see the sweetness of life. I don't know. Right? I'm not gonna say that these things are causative. I just find it interesting. I find it interesting that when we are not open in our lives, it's because we've judged ourselves. And we've judged the people around us, what they will end up saying. And we feel not safe, and anybody out there listening to this, I know for a fact that some gay children's life, it's not safe to come out. And so you have to listen to your heart on that one. But when we get past the judgments, when we get to the place that I can love myself, it's so, so important. So I want to read you a poem. In fact, in your program, there's an insert. You can go along with me. And online, Harris will be showing you these screens too. It's a poem by Ernest Holmes, and it's a poem called She Let Go. And it goes like this. She let go without a thought or a word. She let go. She let go of the fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons, wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry. She just let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the projected date in her day timer. She made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it was just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came over her face. A light breeze blew through her, and the sun and the moon shone forevermore. We can just let go. In that same way, we just let go of everything, all the judgments, all the passions that are actually not useful in our lives. All the things that we decided were true of the universe about ourselves that don't serve us anymore, we can just let them go. And I promise this. When we allow Spirit to help us in that process, we get rid of those claw marks, right? We don't have to have them. It's not like it's inborn into us that things that we let go have to claw us on the way out. They can truly just be let go. We can be free of them. And thank you to Ernest Holmes, our founder, for pointing the way a little bit. She just let go. So today we have an affirmation. If you just say it along with me, it's here on your screen and on your screens at home. I let go and let God. Let's say that again. I let go and let God. So as you go out into your week, what I'd like you to do this week is I'd like you to examine your life a little bit and look, where is it that you've been auto-domesticating yourself, right? Where is it that you've been holding judgments because someone told you that you would be good if you did this or bad if you did that? And I'd love for you to just let go. Let go of any of the judgments, anything that keeps you from that self-love that is so important. It is important for your mental health. It's important for your physical health. It is important for our society because out of the love that we have for ourselves, we give love out into the world more freely, more easily, and that's what this world needs, is more love always. And if you're not quite sure exactly how to do that, as always, just let Spirit guide you. Thank you. Namaste. So let's take that to heart. Let's just ground that, affirm it, attach it into our beingness with a little bit of prayer. And so as I drop down inside of myself to that place that knows this heart that is spirit, this global heart that lives within us, this heart that expands every time we love ourselves a little bit more. This heart that we call spirit, this heart that we call God, this heart that knows us always as whole, perfect, and complete. As I drop down inside of myself to that place of knowingness, I just know and recognize the truth of me, the truth of life, the truth of love, the truth of the power of forgiveness, the truth of this world moving through us, needing every little drop of love that it can get. And it's from that place of knowing the eternal truth of spirit and us as all that spirit is that I speak my word as the truth of each and every one of us here today. This life, this power, this presence that is God, that is all love, always love, all unconditional love, that accepts us completely as is, no strings attached, no judgments in place. No goods, no bad boys, bad girls. Nothing along those lines lives within this spirit that God is. And as I recognize that the truth of me and it's the truth of you, what I know is this world expands, that the love that God is created anew. It flows into us and through us and as us. It refreshes us. It heals our minds, and it heals our body, and it heals the world around us. And so for knowing that to be the truth of all life, I just give thanks. And I release this prayer to the law, knowing that it's already fulfilled in the mind that God is. And I say life and God are good and very good. And together we say, so it is. Amen and amen. And so now is the time for our conscious contributions. And so if you're here in the audience here today, we have offering envelopes in the pews that you can put your offering in. And if you're at home, many of you I know have already auto-tithed to us, and I want to say thank you for that. And if you have not yet, then there are 3 ways to give to Ahiah. One is to do it online at ahiah.com/donate. There's several ways to do it from the website there. Or you can text to give at 616, not 626, 616-229-2225. And then last fall, you can always mail us a check. I love getting the checks. I love to get the love notes that come with the checks, especially, to be honest. And you can do that by sending it to our mailing address shown here on the screen. And so however you do that, what I'd like you to know is that everything that comes here, it comes to support this thing called the Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living and all the work that we do, both here on Sunday and throughout the week, with our partners like Friends Indeed, and all the activities that we do out in the world. And so however you're giving, if you would take that either in hand or virtually and hold it to your heart. I have the blessing here on the screen, and it's on your screen at home. If you would say it along with me. This gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Amen and amen. And so now I'd like to ask Tina, come on up. She's going to give us another song.
Woohoo! Thank you for such a wonderful message. And I learned so much today that I didn't know. So much. The first play I was ever in was A Raisin in the Sun.
Oh.
Yeah, so I thought I knew everything there was to know about Lorraine Hansberry. Thanks to Scott. That was amazing. So thank you. God, that was wonderful. We really should give you a hand for all that you provide us. Okay, so let's sing something that you know. I just want you to know that this could also be considered to be about loving yourself as well. All right, guys. Yeah, you all know this. If you disrespect anybody that you're running to, how in the world do you think anybody's gonna respect you? If you don't give a heck about the man with the Bible in his hand, but just get out the way and let the gentleman do his thing. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. Dee-dee. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. Dee-dee. If you're walking around thinking that the world is just something 'cause you're here, you're going out the world backwards like you did when you first come here. Yeah, keep talking about the president won't stop the air pollution. Put your hand on your mouth when you cough, it'll help the solution. One more. Oh, you cuss around women and you don't even know their names. And then you're dumb enough to think that'll make you a big old man. Gotta respect yourself, yourself. Ain't nobody gonna give a good hoot. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. Dee-dee. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. Dee-dee. If you don't respect yourself, there ain't nobody gonna give a good hoot. Hey, 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 hey. Come on, y'all.
Respect yourself.
Come on, everybody. We're going to respect ourselves. Respect yourself. 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 Respect yourself.
I think I was singing along with you. I didn't know my mic was on. By the way, what is a good Kahoot anyway? Oh, I love that song. So, I want to remind you that we have practitioners here We have 9 practitioners plus Reverend Mike and myself as the ministers here at Ahiah who wish to pray with you. And you can get a hold of them by going to ahiah.com/meetourpractitioners. There's contact information there, either email or phone calls that you can give them. And they love to talk with you. If you want to just put in a prayer request, there are prayer requests here in the pews. You can put it in the box right back there in the foyer, or you can go and do it online. We all love doing things online anymore, so we've got plenty of stuff, plenty of ways to do things online here for all of our folks online. You can go to ahiah.com/prayers and fill that in, and only the ministers and the practitioners see what you put there. And then we also have Dial a Prayer, which is a great little wake me up throughout the week that you can go to. And then today, as soon as we're done here today and have a quick break so that we can switch the video and everything and allow people to go to the restroom if they need to, we're going to be doing a community meeting, and we're going to be talking. Gloria's got some information about our financial health, which is doing well. So we want to hear about that. We've got information about our youth program and what's going on with that. We got all sorts of things, and we've got a Q&A period where you get to talk to me and Gloria, and Jackie is on the board here today, and then hopefully on Zoom we'll have our other board members. So that's today, and then I'd love for you to put on the calendar the annual meeting. Today is a non-voting meeting, right? There's no voting going on. This is just informational. In March, there's a voting meeting. So all the members get together, they vote. Everybody is welcome at that meeting, whether you are a member or not, but only the members get to vote. So please, put that on the calendar. It's the 27th of March, and it'll be after service. And then this thing called You, we were planning on starting a class today, actually, but Patricia has decided to postpone it until April. So look back around the April time frame. I think it'll be the first Sunday in April, but I'm not quite sure on that yet. And then at the annual meeting, we will be voting in a replacement for Gloria. Gloria's term as on the board is finishing up. And so we have a nominating committee right now that is Marcia Bradshaw, who's here, Annette Spence, who's online, Linda Marquez, Gloria Roberts, and myself are all members of that nominating committee. We're looking through applications. If you would like to apply to be on the board or just want to figure out what does it mean to be on the board, first of all, you have to be a member for at least 1 year to be on the board, and there's some other things that we would want you to know about and before you apply. So just come and talk to Marcia or myself or any of the board members, and we would love to chat with you. And then we have a youth program that's going good, and let us give this.
Thank you. Oh, I like our intro song.
Gloria, is the wireless on? Yes, it is. Okay. No.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, can.
Okay. We had a great youth church day. We have new friends. We also had 5 kids on Zoom, and that was awesome. And I'll have everybody introduce themselves.
I'm Connie, and I'm 12.
I'm Cecily, and I'm 11. I'm Celine, and I'm 5.
Hello, I'm Malachi.
Malachi is our very important helper. Today, since it's the first beginning of February, we decided to celebrate love and kindness, and we talked about how we do that by celebrating all the special people in our life. And we know that there are people out in the world that are maybe feeling a little lonely or have some things going on. So we made cards for them, and those people will be getting special cards in the mail come Valentine's Day.
Yay! So excited. I wish I was one. How do I get on the list? Yeah, that's all right. We love reaching out to our congregation in all the different ways to support people, and this is a great way. Thank you to our youth for doing that. So, yes. So let's do the benediction, and then we'll do the annual or the community meeting after that. So showing up on your screen here and your screen at home is our benediction. Why don't you read along with me? Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all of my affairs. I accept it. I am it, and I share it, just the way it appears and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. So it's so good having you here today, and so good having you online. We will not be doing fellowship today. Instead, we're going to do the community meeting. So if you are on Facebook or YouTube right now, switch over to Zoom, because that way you can interact with us. You can ask questions and everything. We're going to have a Q&A. And let's see, anything else we need to say? I think not. All right, I love you guys. I will see you at the meeting, and if I don't see you there, I will see you next week. Thank you. Namaste.